Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the hot mess of Hollywood. Yes, fiends of the Den, this is the Dark Entertainment Network, a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories, makes babies in my brain, and it comes out my mouth. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell because I am not going to stop. Yes, dear fiends of the den, we are back with the hot mess of Hollywood, and I've been talking lavender marriages and how they were created in the 1920s, and how many people, including myself, have the theory that these lavender marriages and relationships have continued into the 21st century. So let's discuss this hot mess and see who gets burned. What's your dream? Hollywood, the place where dreams are made, but also where personas are created. And I've been talking about the studio system, the star system, and the pros and cons of both. You've got to go check out those episodes. I will link them in the description. But we're also talking about the creation of PR relationships in Hollywood, which created a lot of Nepo babies, the first round in like the 30s, the 40s. So it's very interesting that many people in the social media world feel that lavender marriages created by the studio system are still a part of Hollywood. So we're going to explore because everyone is curious about Deborra-Lee Furness and Hugh Jackman. The Lavender Marriage, created by Hollywood studios, the marriage of convenience to hide people's sexuality, to promote them as sex symbols, because as I uncovered, Hollywood, at least old Hollywood, put image over talent. And I'm not saying they did this every time. There were some very, very talented actors and actresses. There still are to this day. But it is still a lot of image over talent. And now a lot of business acumen too, which I applauded Mary Pickford for having, and I do applaud a lot of these actors for having, but when they take things too far, when they try to take too much control over not just their own image, but the way people view them, and the fact that social media has so much to do with uncovering these alleged lavender relationships, I wonder, are they real? And will Deborra-Lee Furness spill anything? So let's talk about what she calls the traumatic journey of betrayal. I just think this is absolutely awful. And of course, they're going to do all of the PR they can to make Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster look like this incredible power couple and forget about his first wife. But we will not forget Deborra-Lee. So, this is how the story goes down. Deborra-Lee Furness recently spoke about her divorce from Hugh Jackman, describing it as a traumatic journey of betrayal. In a statement, she reflected on the emotional toll of ending their nearly 3-decade marriage, saying that she believes in a higher power and that adversity can lead to personal growth. She emphasized that returning to one's integrity, values, and boundaries brings liberation and freedom. And of course, her comments sparked discussion, especially as Jackman has been linked to Broadway star Sutton Foster following their separation. So, Furness also mentioned that she remains grateful for the relationship and sees it as part of life's journey. But I think that honestly, Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster should have kept this much more quiet for a while. They didn't have to be so public. I remember the separation announcement, and it was quite shocking. But Hugh Jackman and Deborra-Lee Furness officially filed for divorce on May 27th, 2025, nearly 2 years after announcing their separation on September 23rd, 2023, and the terms were uncontested and only required a judge's approval. And this is after nearly 3 decades of marriage. Now, I did a little research on my phone, and there is a blind item circulating suggesting Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, everyone's favorite couple, suggesting that they knew about Hugh Jackman's affair with Sutton Foster and didn't inform Deborra-Lee Furness. And it reports that Deborra-Lee was seething with rage that her friends didn't alert her about Jackman and Foster's relationship. So these rumors of this alleged affair developed while Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster were working on the Broadway revival of The Music Man in 2022. And Deborra-Lee Furness reportedly feels blindsided and betrayed by Blake and Ryan. And remember, Deborra-Lee Furness was not at the Deadpool Wolverine. Well, she wouldn't have been because they were separated, but he wasn't there, with Sutton Foster. So I'm wondering if they, were just hiding then, but figured now it's an okay time to come out because there's so much, I guess, negative press surrounding Blake and Ryan. It's like, oh, well, why not just come out with our relationship now? But I'm wondering, and I know a lot of people are wondering, if Hugh Jackman and Deborra-Lee Furness were in a Lavender marriage, and so is Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And how many times have we heard how close Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are? Now, this is all for entertainment purposes, as you know. But what if Sutton Foster is literally just the new Beard? And Blake Lively's in such a mess of her own right now that if she and Ryan Reynolds got divorced, no one would be shocked at this point. I think he would look really bad knowing that he was really the one who pushed forward this whole lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, and now they all want it dismissed, which is so ridiculous. And they didn't have to do it. They didn't have to start it. But, I'm just wondering if maybe right now Hugh Jackman is putting out this relationship with Sutton Foster because he's trying to just get himself positive press, but it's giving him negative press because everyone loves Deborra-Lee Furness. I will miss seeing her on the red carpet. I really wasn't paying attention to, recent events with the two of them. I was more in the past, and all of a sudden, the worlds of of podcasting collided, the past and the present, with talking about lavender marriages. And everyone wonders. There are rumors, and of course, again, this is all alleged, but there are rumors that Bradley Cooper was in a lavender relationship with Irina Shayk, and now also possibly Gigi Hadid. Now, there's no proof of that, but it's just an interesting theory. And, just to throw it out there, we all know that Taylor Swift was out the other night with Dakota Johnson, and they are becoming close friends, but it's leading to some speculation because Dakota Johnson is starring in an upcoming Colleen Hoover adaptation. So everybody's sort of wondering if Taylor Swift is sending another message to Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds after also saying, she wished she never met Blake Lively. It's just interesting. Now, let's just swing this back around to the lavender marriages and the lavender everything relationships. It's both men and women who would enter these relationships. And a lot of it comes from yachting, the yacht girls. Now, this term, of course, refers to models or actresses rumored to have connections to wealthy individuals or industry insiders And this sometimes leads to strategic marriages. And there are a lot of rumored yacht girls who you can see sort of had themselves much higher status. So, of course, platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, they love, like me, to discuss and dissect every detail of these lavender marriages because they're so interesting to me. And I personally feel that there are a lot of people who work in the industry today that are in lavender marriages that are not quite celebrities, but like, I don't know, they think it like makes them part of an inner circle. It's just my opinion from having been in that world for a bit and around it, what I have seen. But you do really get with these lavender marriages to have a team carefully curate your whole public persona. And of course, then these relationships are like overly polished and they seem strategic now, whereas in old Hollywood, it didn't because we were expecting that perfection. Audiences were expecting that perfection. In the digital age now, people want more genuine connection. They want to see a real romance. They don't want to see these PR driven romances. But back in old Hollywood, being LGBT was not going to get you leading man, leading woman. So these lavender marriages were created, and these paparazzi staged moments, scripted moments on the red carpet, scripted moments in interviews, everything was staged. And what happened is it blurred the line between fact and fiction. So the media, the newspapers, the gossip magazines, they go along with the fiction, blend it with a little bit of fact, and this is what we get. But now, with what Blake Lively likes to call the mommy sleuths, we also get to find a lot of the truth thanks to places like Reddit, Quora Digest, and just other platforms, other social media platforms where people get to share. So I want to talk more about lavender marriages and who we think is in them on the next Hot Mess of Hollywood. And coming up, I am talking the women moguls of the 21st century, like the latest billionaire Hailey Bieber, rumored to be a yacht girl. Was her marriage to Justin arranged as an upgrade so she could get where she got? I mean, it's possible, but she also worked at her skincare company for 3 years and at 28 years old sold it for $1 billion and is still working for the company. So whether she got her start and no shame at all as a yacht girl and took her opportunities to build what she did, more power to you. But let's talk about the ones we think deserve it and the ones we don't, and who is maybe in these lavender marriages. So, more next week on the Hot Mess of Hollywood in the Den. I am the nerd who loves research, and if you do have any tips for me, please email me at welcometothedenpodcast@gmail.com. If you enjoy this content and even pettier content on my Hot Mess of Hollywood, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And thank you for joining me in the den.